ka zone bia ka we ngala si o nyine mo fi nyine mo.
On this episode of Philomena.com, I am having the privilege to join Karton here in Nimba County at Feed Organics Farm. A lot of you always ask me, what can you do to invest in a place like Liberia? This is a great example that I'm going to take you around today and check out. So Karton, tell us about Feed Organics Farm. How did this start? You're the brainchild behind it. All of this is because of you. So where did you start? People always want to know, how do you get these ideas?
Well, it started off about 10 years ago. I started in cocoa. I thought it was had access to all this land, and it made sense to do something with it. It was untapped, so I decided to, after some research, to go into cocoa. After going through the process, a few years, some ups and downs, I decided that while we were prepping, working with the cocoa, we needed something cash flow, something that could turn over a little bit faster.
Right.
Plus, we needed to feed people.
Yeah.
And people were looking for good food. Mm-hmm. I'm already in the food and beverage industry with the Capital Room, Peace Cafe. So there was an opportunity to grow fresh fruits and vegetables that could not only supply our restaurants, but also, a farm-to-table concept. And that's where the idea came about 7-8 months ago to start growing our own food, healthy food, for healthy living. So we took about 6 acres of the 250 acres that we have to start working on proper, fruits and vegetables, things that we consume, daily, not necessarily bitter balls and things like that. We wanted to do something that was a little more unique, or maybe hard to find items
in Liberia.
Exactly.
Yes.
Things that typically will be imported.
Exactly.
We wanted to grow it here.
Right.
And that's where we
find ourselves.
Yeah, that's where we find ourselves.
So, what type of vegetables do you grow here? What's the full scale?
Full scale, we have about 12 different vegetables, or maybe even more actually, because we're always experimenting. One of the vegetables that we talked about that usually, if you do see it, is imported from Morocco or Lebanon or wherever else, right? Maybe Germany. But we've taken the opportunity. Most people feel like it can't grow here, or they don't feel like there's a demand enough to grow green peppers. Now, where we are is, as we do this farm to table, we're trying to figure out, okay, what is the demand for green peppers, and if there is one, then we can supply. Even if it's a small group of people, even if it's 20, 25 people, we'll grow enough for that group of people. One thing to mention, most of the farm we're focused on the tomatoes because that's what's in the highest demand. So I would think maybe 40% of the fruits and vegetable garden will be tomatoes, because as Liberians, that's something that it's, and unfortunately, most of the tomatoes that we have in the country are imported. I don't know of many people or farmers that are actually growing tomatoes, because it takes a lot of work, a lot of care. And even since we started doing it, we've had, a few ups and downs with it, and it, trial and error. And I think we got to figure it out now, understanding the varieties. But our goal is to increase production this year, so we can probably get to around 2.5 tons per month of tomatoes for wholesale and for some of the other products and that we want to create out of tomatoes, and the farm to table business side. This is Iceberg Lettuce, a variety that is, most of us know Iceberg Lettuce, but it's very hard to find. I think it's very rare that you can even find it in Liberia. The idea to do Iceberg Lettuce came, I wanted to try it here because most people feel like it can't grow in Liberia. So we'll see. I think it's doing pretty well since we've transplanted it. And there's an opportunity, if we do enough of it, where we can export it in the ECOWAS.
Yeah.
Because there are restaurants that sell burgers that prefer iceberg
Lettuce,
lettuce.
yeah.
And you're starting to see that when you go to places like Ghana or if you're in Ivory Coast. So there are some restaurants here also that want them, but that was the reason why I decided to try iceberg lettuce. Plus, I accepted the challenge. I believe anything can grow here. We have the climate, and we have the soil.
You're definitely putting that, that said so much in Liberia that we have the land, so we should be able to grow everything. I would say this is probably one of my first experiences in Liberia, seeing so many varieties of vegetables and produce being tested. And I wonder, do people even try it? So I think you're the big challenger here.
Yeah, I mean, I accept the challenge. I think all my life as an entrepreneur, I'm not necessarily married to one thing, well, I mean, besides my wife. But
You hear that, Barco?
right. Yeah, but things inspire me. I mean, I go places. I'm a visual person. Sometimes I have to go places and I see things, and because I can visualize and I can experience those things, they inspire me to do things here.
The edge of the beds, we plant lemongrass. It helps with the erosion. At the same time, we harvest it. People want it for tea or spices. But the main purpose of it being planted on the edges is for the erosion. So when it rains, and just to protect the beds from erosion. This is the nursery for the arugula. It's going to be in nursery for the next, I think, 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes.
Then we have another variety of kale that we're trying here. That's a little bit different from the ones you were seeing earlier. This is a different variety of kale. And then here you have spinach.
Ooh.
These are
Bell peppers first. So these are the bell peppers. This is a different type of bell pepper. Like I think these are the red and green ones.
Okay.
The other ones you saw with the sweet bell peppers. So
Right.
these are not as sweet, but they're yellow and red. Then this is all spinach. I'm a big fan of spinach.
So am I.
Yeah.
I love a good spinach salad.
Right. So this is spinach, and I'm actually out of all the greens, like spinach and kale, that's really my thing. I could never find it in Liberia.
Never.